What's going on, guys? Sean Nalawani, SeanNal.com, BodyTransformationTruth.com, and I figured this was an appropriate video for the time of year, especially with the holidays just finishing up. And what I wanted to quickly talk about here is the subject of how to return to the gym after a training layoff. And by training layoff for this video, I consider that to be anywhere from around maybe 2 weeks up to maybe 5 or 6 weeks off. For anyone who trains as part of a regular ongoing lifestyle, layoffs are pretty much inevitable, and they happen to almost everyone from time to time. So maybe you were sick, or you had an injury to deal with, or maybe some other area of life got in the way, or maybe you just lost motivation in general and you needed some time to recharge. But in any case, it happens, it's normal. So the first point I would make is to not stress out about it if you are. What's done is done, and just recognize that fitness is a lifelong game and that it's what you do in the bigger overall picture that matters. Short-term layoffs are no big deal in the long run. And recognizing that is going to help you avoid the main mistake that most trainees make when coming back to the gym after a break, and that is trying to immediately pick up where they left off and not giving themselves enough time to recalibrate and to properly build back up to where they were before. I get that it can feel kind of depressing having to drop the weights back down after you had put in the work to build up to a certain level, but there's no immediate rush here, and it's critical that you leave your ego at the door and that you accept that things probably have regressed a bit and that you will need to temporarily reduce the amount of weight you're lifting. Now, exactly how much strength or how much muscle you lost is going to depend on a lot of different things. It's going to depend on how long your layoff was, of course, how your diet was during that time, your sleep, and just what your overall lifestyle was like in general. So if you were away for only 2 weeks because you needed to focus on school or work and your diet was reasonably on point, then in that case, you probably didn't lose any real muscle at all during that time, and you might only experience a very small decrease in strength. On the other hand, if you were gone for, say, 5 weeks and your diet was a mess and you weren't sleeping well, then obviously the effects are going to be more significant. So take into account the length of your layoff, what your diet was like, and how you feel physically and mentally, and then treat your first session back for each body part as a test workout, and experiment on your first few sets to see what kind of weights you can actually handle in proper form. You'll pretty much just have to go by feel on this because there's no way to know exactly how much strength you lost, since there are a lot of different factors that come into play. So if in doubt, just go lighter. And if it turns out that the weight you selected was a bit too light, then you can just aim for higher reps anyway. It's not a big deal. But within a couple sets of each lift, you should have a pretty good idea of where your strength is currently at. And from there, you can just aim for progressive overload in the same way that you normally would. Don't try to rush things by increasing your training intensity or performing extra volume or additional workouts. That's not necessary, and it's only going to increase your chances of burnout and possibly even injury. So you need to let go of your previous strength numbers. Your current strength is your current strength, and you just need to move forward and progress from your current level just like you normally would. Now, remember that strength itself is not just a product of actual muscular strength, but it's also a learned skill as well. And so just because you have lost some strength, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's a direct representation of how much muscle you lost. Because strength goes down not only from losing actual muscle mass, but also just from neurological adaptations where your body has become less efficient at those specific movement patterns since you haven't been performing them consistently. So it's totally normal to lose strength during a layoff, even if your physique doesn't look that much different. In terms of actual muscle loss, if you were away for more than 2 weeks and your diet wasn't great, then yes, you probably did lose some lean mass, but significant muscle loss takes quite a bit longer than most people think. And for shorter term layoffs, you're not going to lose that much, even if your diet and your sleep wasn't on point. And then because of muscle memory, whatever muscle you might have lost during your layoff, it will come back significantly faster than it took to originally build it in the first place. I think anyone who has built muscle, then lost some of it, and then return to training can confirm that. I've experienced it firsthand several times, but those initial adaptations that your body made to build the muscle in the first place they never truly go away. They're always stored in the body's memory somehow. And once that training stressor comes back, it immediately kicks into gear and that lost muscle gets rebuilt quite a bit faster. So you can use that as motivation and reassurance if you are coming back from a layoff and you did lose some size. Also remember that what appears to be muscle loss during a layoff often isn't even the result of actual losses in dry muscle tissue itself. That's part of it, but it's also just being caused by the muscle cells storing less fluid and less glycogen from the inactivity. So your physique will usually look like it's sort of flattened out and deflated a bit if you haven't trained for around 2 weeks. But you'll find that very quickly once you get back into training, that visual fullness in the mirror does come back. Not to mention that part of it is probably just psychological as well, so I wouldn't discount that either. But in any case, there's nothing fancy that you need to do here when it comes to returning to the gym after a layoff. Just keep yourself grounded and recognize that layoffs are a normal part of training. Start off lighter during your first few sessions to get a feel for what weights you can handle. Apply progressive overload from there just like you normally would without changing your regular training style. Gradually build back up and recognize that whatever size and strength gains you have lost will come back quite a bit faster than it took you to gain them in the first place. So there's no need to rush things, just be patient and you'll be back to where you were before you know it, and you can just progress further from there. So thanks for watching, guys. If you found this advice helpful and you want to get all the tools you need to gain muscle and lose fat effectively, the workouts, the meal plans, the supplement guides, along with one-on-one coaching, then you can download my Body Transformation Blueprint by clicking here or by heading over to bodytransformationtruth.com using the link in the description box. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to stay up to date on future videos. You can also check out my official blog over at SeanNall.com for all of my latest updates, and you can follow me on social media here if you aren't already. The links for that are also in the description box. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I will talk to you again soon.